All right, so we're ready to link up. Instead of manually building our level entities this way, which now no longer works, we want to create our level. There's a couple places that you could put it. I'm going to put it when I create the main game screen because I'm really only having one map. But the way that we built it, we could pass it in. We could do it in a show method where we're creating a map, and we could have it set up where we could dispose and recreate when we switch maps if that was what you were trying to do in your game. So first thing that we're going to have to do is let's go to our level generator. We're going to have a couple things. We're going to have a private orthogonal tiled map renderer. I'll just call it map renderer. And we need to have a private tiled map. Call map. And yeah, that should be it. Okay, so after we do our level collision generator, we want to build our map. So map is equal to, and we're gonna change this. Let me just actually write a to do. Need to change how map is loaded when asset management. Okay. So we're going to use a new TMX map loader. We need to load the map. Now, because we don't have it nested in anything, it's the first place it's going to be looking is in our assets folder. So I'm going to be typing this testmap.tmx. But if I had a map folder, so assets map, I'm going to have to write that in here when I'm pulling it. So testmap.tmx. Okay, so that's my map. Now my map renderer is equal to a new map renderer. That requires the map. What else does it require? You could put a scale in it if you needed to. We don't really need to. And I can pass in the batch. Do I have my batch? Yep. This.batch. Okay. So now I have my map renderer. We would need to, so that's going to go through, that's going to build the map. It's not building the level generation yet, but it would build the graphical part of that. Now, for using the map renderer, you can actually render small pieces of the map. You don't have to render the entire thing. You can render it by levels. And that's an easy way for stuff where the player is always going to be walking behind or in front of something. We can do that. All that is that's just if I'm calling it map renderer dot get batch dot begin, and then we are picking. We do something like this: map renderer dot render. Render tile layer. There we go. Render tile layer, and then we're passing in that tile layer from the map, and we can say which one we want. So it could be something like this: tiled map tile layer. I'm casting it. So my map dot get layer. Where is it? There it is. Get layers. And then I can, say get, and I could pass in that string or that name. So I could say, pass in 0 and 1. because on tiled it's going to be counting from the bottom, so 0, 1, to start building. However, and then you just have to end the batch. However, since we're just testing, we just want to make sure that it works. Map renderer dot render is a whole lot easier to do. So that would be enough for us to be able to run it. It's going to be below us. Now we wanted to have the level collision generator to also run. So that needs to happen though after I've already instituted my systems. I can't do it beforehand. So we're doing our systems, and now we can do it. So I have my map. I can go ahead and do my level collision generator dot create collision level and pass in that map. And that should work. There may be a couple bit of issues, but let's see. Wow, that's taken a long time. Come on. Anytime now. Wow, that was felt like forever. All right, let's see how we did. Ooh. Polygon shapes. I didn't like it. Line 122. This is a new error. B2 polygon shapes, line 122. So there's some issue. I don't know if that's a new thing. I did just update my tiled, so I don't know if that, because it was working before. So I'm going to have to look and see where that is. But that's line 122 of this Box2D collision shapes. Expressions count is greater than 3, less than or equal to 8. Let's do a search. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and do a little bit of research. Okay, so I figured out what the issue was. Basically, that assertion going through the class, now this is in C, but it has issues creating a polygon with more than 8 vertices. So that's where it asserted as false. So if it's less than 3, it can't be a polygon. Now the update, you guys won't have this issue. The update that I got has inserting the polyline. You should see 5 things. Okay, the point, the circle, or the ellipse, polygon, and the polyline, which would be right there. What it ends up doing is it's actually creating a polygon. So these 2 shapes that I created, the errors went away when I created them as individual rectangles. This one is a rectangle, and this one, instead of just having border lines, it freaks out. So I rebuilt it, making sure that I had exactly 8 just to see if I can get it to work, and then ran it. So what we're ultimately looking for is that it is creating a body that maybe we can see at least part of the map, because we're going to have to do a lot of playing around with it, and that we can collide with them. So it actually created that entity. So let's look. Okay, so my map, that's actually in the bottom left, so I'm probably going to have to do some scaling for the map itself. But let's see if our guy runs in. He does. So we are on the right path. Now we have to do some tweaking. This corner looks like the corner, so this looks like it's this corner. So the Box 2D bodies on this are scaled way up, but the map that it's rendering is scaled way down. So we're probably going to have to play around with a couple things to make sure that everything is being scaled properly. Our Box 2D's bodies, once they're created, they're good because we're setting that size. However, I suspect that in here, when I was talking about having to use pixels per meter, because we're pulling from tiled, we may end up having to do that. So I'm going to kind of play around with that to see if that fixes some of the issues. The other thing is in our main game screen, our renderer, we can change the scale of that. So we could resize this. So we're not really like completely wrong. We just have to do some tweaking. All right. Have fun. That should give you enough to get your level collision generator done and be able to have a platform in place to start setting up for doing your own maps and your own tile sets. All right. Have fun. Good luck.